Welcome in, everybody. Episode 202 is here. I got a special guest today in the Nova Bomb himself, Pete Nova. How we doing today, man? What's good? We're going to break down the NFL playoffs. What do you got going on right now?
Not much, man. Just making sure I can get this out to my audience as well. But yeah, I mean, we had a rough start to the NFL playoffs, and we were graced. We were graced with some good games this weekend, which we deserved after the beginning of the
I
playoffs.
agree with that.
So yeah, I was happy. Was definitely happy with that for sure.
So if you guys are new in the channel right now, you can check out Pete's socials at Supernova38. He also does his YouTube show on the FF Face Off. I don't know if you have your own private channel yet or not. Are you looking into that, or
No,
what do you
I
got going there?
think for right now, yeah, I'm sticking to certain segments. Just doing my thing. Maybe I'll branch out and do something at some point, but for now, just sticking with the guys.
Right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to break down each game, look into the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, make our Super Bowl predictions, maybe some Pick-Ems. And man, the game to start off with here, Commanders-Lions, 45-31, 8.5-point underdog win for the rookie Jaden Daniels. And are we at the point now where we're willing to say that this is the best rookie quarterback season of all time?
Yeah, I mean, I think Big Ben is the last guy to go this far. I think you can make a case for Andrew Luck in some regards, but I would still say Jaden Daniels has been better.
I
Andrew
think they're
Luck had
both
an
tied at
awesome
like
rookie year,
14,
but
15 wins, right?
what'd you say?
I think Jaden Daniels and Big Ben are tied at like 15 wins in the season for a rookie.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. But I think Big Ben did less than Daniels is doing. Daniels is really elevating his team, where Big Ben was more on a team that elevated him, that and with a really good defense. So
I
I think that's the
100%
main
agree with
difference.
that. I saw a crazy stat for Jaden Daniels that I got to throw out here. I don't know if you've seen this. Jaden Daniels since 2000 right now in this playoff run is the highest EPA, which is expected points added for a quarterback in 25 years, over Tom Brady, over Kaepernick, over Burrow, Blake Bortles, Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, Stafford, Cousins, all these guys. I think I'm willing to say it's the best season I've ever seen from a rookie right now, what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue, for sure going out and saying that. I don't think it's a stretch to say it at this point either. I think it's like I said, I think it's the biggest thing is just the elevation. Like he is, he's elevating the guys around him. He's playing like a veteran. I mean, even like the thing with him is like you look at him as a guy that likes to run. But I mean, he's doing like he doesn't look like a guy that's trying to run with his legs all the time. He's looking downfield to throw the football a lot, which is very encouraging because guys that it's like almost like running a secondary, and when running a secondary for a guy that has those kinds of wheels, it's even scarier.
Dude, he looks. I mean, are they going to win? Are they going to go to the Super Bowl here? Are we going to see them beat Philly?
I I love what they're doing. I love what they're doing, but I do think the buck stops here. And I know we're gonna get to that at some point, but I'm not. A spoiler for me would be I'm not taking them to win, in this week, but doesn't take away from what's been an impressive year.
I would have to say one thing I thought that the game was bigger than I thought it would be was Brian Robinson with 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was amazing. Terry McLaurin back-to-back touchdowns in both playoff games. He's got 15 targets, 15 receptions, no drops. He's been unbelievable. And Zach Ertz is making a little, finds the end zone again for a so-called revenge game for him for Detroit. But I mean, man, when I'm looking at the Commanders, I'm thinking if they get some more weapons next year, we might be talking about Jaden Daniels as QB1 for a couple of years here.
Yeah, you mean QB1 in
fantasy?
fantasy? You mean QB1 in fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't. It's funny. I had my one of my better takes that I had this offseason. I wasn't a big Anthony Richardson believer, and I said it on our show, and I'm going to clip it at some point, but why spend the premium on Anthony Richardson when you can get Jaden Daniels? Richardson played 5 more games than Jaden Daniels going into this year. Jane Daniels is a running quarterback that's been able to stay healthy as opposed to Richardson who couldn't. Like to me, like I never bought into the Richardson hype, to be honest with you.
I
And
did.
yeah, I mean, I get it. Like if he could have stayed healthy, like, that was always the thing before the season. Can he stay healthy? But I just there's a lot of talk about, locker room presence and you know, if is he fully focused? And they did talk about once he got benched, that it seemed like he started to focus in and started to lock in more. But that's just that's just a bad sign to hear about a young quarterback.
It is. I also saw that he'd only played like 16 total games in his career, right? So
Yeah.
he's still 21, still young. But I bought into the hype. I had him at QB1. He came out with that 30-point week one, and I thought, here we go. Here's the Anthony Richardson, and then just nothing fell there. If you had to take away anything from the Lions side besides Jahmyr Gibbs just being an absolute monster, what would you take away from their side in their game?
Um, it just, injuries finally caught up with them. I did take the Commanders to win this game. I just think that the Lions, while they were a talented team, I think they took advantage of a really soft schedule, and I think their entire division did. It's no surprise that the entire division goes 0-3 in the playoffs. And they had an insane record. All of them had insane records, and we had people talking about how we shouldn't even, it should be seeded by records. That's how crazy the discourse got because of that division. And then none of them won a game. I just think the Lions, while they were a talented team, I felt like, they had struggled when they did play running quarterbacks, and Daniels is just Daniels is kind of like Lamar in a sense of anytime Lamar plays an NFC team, I generally take all his player props because a guy like that is really hard to plan for when you don't see him on a yearly basis. Those NFC teams usually see him once every 4 years. So Daniels, I think, is going to be a similar guy in that regard.
I like that. I do. I have to agree with the injuries there. That's for sure. I mean, their defense was decimated. I
Yeah.
think, if Hutchinson and I think they had like 10 guys out, 16 on IR. So, I mean, if they had their full team out, there would have been a different story defensively. But still, I mean, Jaden Daniels, I still got to give the credit to. Shout out to BDE as well. And chat, I see you in there. What's up? Hot take. Big Draft Energy called the goddamn Commanders to go to the playoffs the minute they drafted Jaden Daniels in the season. I did not see that coming. Amazing call there.
Yeah.
I would also say one of the major takeaways I have with the Lions is Jameson Williams may be here to stay, and I did not buy into it at all coming into the season.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000+ yard season. He looks exactly like everything they wanted when they drafted him, and it's coming to fruition now. But they're still out of it. They lost the game. Sam Laporta had a big game for me as well. I liked him there. Amon Ra, I hit on his call. David Montgomery did nothing on the return, really. I mean, the pump up to get him back, that really, he was, I think, like 4 yards a carry at 25, 26 yards or 28 yards. Nothing great there. But I do think the Lions, not what do you think, but Ben Johnson gone? Aaron Glenn looks like he's gone to the Jets now. What are we thinking coming up here for the Lions next year? Are they going to be in trouble, or is the power of the team going to carry them through?
So they do have a tough schedule. I was looking at it today, and I did say on Twitter, I really wouldn't be surprised if this team misses the playoffs next year. I know it's a spicy take, but the so part of the reason, and I'm a defensive guy, part of the reason I don't love defensive minded head coaches, and Dan Campbell, for what it's worth, is an offensive coach, right? I mean, he played tight end, right? Like, but you look at him and think of a defensive minded head coach. But part of the issue is when you start to become a really good football team, you lose your coordinators. The Chiefs have been blessed
Niners.
by God that they have not had to lose Spagnola, and he's been there. That has been like the secret sauce that nobody talks about. And I just worry, how will they backfill? Because Aaron Glenn looks like he's 100% going to the Jets. Ben Johnson's gone. Can Dan Campbell have? I mean, they knew this was likely going to happen. Did they have a plan in place? I saw that there's likely going to promote, I think, their linebackers coach to DC. So we'll see. But that's the thing that worries me the most is, some of these teams. That's why, like, I like a guy like Mike McCarthy. People talk about him, like, and this head coaching cycle. Like, he's a guy that has a network that, like, he can bring in really good seasoned coaches. Everybody wants the young coaches, and I understand that, the offensive minds, but I just think, like, Like, look at what Peyton's done for the Broncos. He's been able to bring. I mean, Jim Leonard just came over from college. He's coaching with them. Vance Joseph came back. They brought in David Shaw from college. Like, there's just, I worry about the Lions and their ability to, I mean, you run into a similar situation with the Eagles. What happened with the Eagles last year? When they lost their coordinators, right? Is
You
that going to
think there's
happen
a
with the
chance that
Lions?
Saleh plugs in with Dan Campbell and they're just the nastiest duo freaking headed
You
monster you've
said
ever
You
seen?
said Salah.
Yeah.
Is he rumored to go there? I mean,
The
I know.
49ers offered him like the highest, paying
Yeah,
defensive coordinator job. But I mean, it'd just be awesome to see Dan Campbell and Robert Saleh, offensive coordinator, head coach. That'd be sick to see.
yeah, that would be. Yeah, those are two no nonsense guys, but they're
Right.
they're also they're the type of guy, like, people look at those kinds, like, they're the types of coaches that, like, they break you down and they build you up. You know what I mean? It's like the potter and the clay. If you're like a religious guy, they always talk about, like, the potter, the clay gets hard and then they break it down and then they mold it back up, right? Like when it's soft and it molds. That's the same thing. That's the mentality of those coaches.
No, I agree 100%. Catch up with chat. What's up, Hooch? How we doing? We got Out of Rhythm Fantasy. I think this is your side. He goes, "Are we going to hype up Sanders as much as we did with Jaden Daniels?" For me,
God no.
I am not on the Shadur Sanders train. I don't know if you are. I haven't heard any output on you on him. What are your thoughts there?
Nah, I'm not. I mean, this quarterback class is rough, man. I think Sanders can be solid. He reminds me of like Geno Smith in some ways, but I just don't see much ceiling on him. And I just worry about the circus with him. Some of his tape is really bad from college, and I'm
And
willing to be
Travis
wrong
Hunter
on
saved
him.
a lot of it too. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Travis Hunter made electric plays to save him a ton of ugly, ugly, QB performances from him.
absolutely.
Eighth round value. I would take a better quarterback than him in eighth round value, to be honest. I do not have much hope in him in his rookie year. Obviously, landing spot is everything. We're early. We don't know what's going to happen yet in the draft or free agency. But I'm the same way on this quarterback class. I'm not as high.
Yeah.
Beating Josh McDaniels to the Patriots. I don't know how I feel about that. And Drake May, I was super high on Drake May coming in. And now Josh McDaniels they're going back to their old ways. This is the same. It's been here. I don't know if do you like the Josh McDaniels addition at offensive coordinator or not?
Um, I don't hate it, to be honest with you. My one thing is kind of like, you let Belichick go to then want to revert back. Like, what was the reason for moving off of Belichick in the first place? That's really my biggest thing. I mean, you promoted Mayo, and I think there was a rift between Kraft and Belichick, and maybe that was the biggest thing. But like, you usually fire coaches to change culture, and these
Right.
are guys that come from the same cloth. And so to me, I like McDaniels. It just feels like too easy of a hire. And to me, I would have liked them to try to, you know,
Branch out.
yeah, yeah.
That's what killed me there. I don't want to see him back in the same job, but if they get May some weapons, I do think he's going to be electric. I really like Drake May a lot. I like his game.
Yeah. If Drake May can be coached hard, it'll be a good hire. Josh McDaniels, for his faults of a person, like, he's a douchebag. But I mean, he is a very, very awesome mind. So I think he's going to work well with Drake May as long as he can be coached hard.
I guess we're gonna have to wait and see on that one because I'm kind of I don't really like that one a lot. But
I
what's
get it.
up, Opera? How we doing? Moving on to game 2 here. This is just I don't even really want to talk about this game, man. Patrick Mahomes. I did not like the flags. I did not like the flop. The Texans had this game. They really did. And it just did not work out in their favor. One thing, my takeaway from this game would be CJ Stroud had a bad season and not a great, looked like a sophomore slump. And he came out firing without two of his weapons at wide receiver. Played 2 great playoff games back to back. Even going at Arrowhead is tough. Joe Mixon looked great. He almost cracked 100 yards against the number 1 run D. I mean, Nico Collins had a good game, not a great game, but I don't. I just think the script is out, and I think the Chiefs are just. I want the Bills to win so bad, but I don't
I
know
don't
if it's
see
going to happen.
I don't see how they don't win. I mean, I mean, look, I understand that it's nobody wants to go out on a limb, and if you feel like if you're saying that the Chiefs won't win, it just feels like you're bitter and you're just trying to convince yourself. But from a matchup standpoint, this Chiefs team hasn't played an offense that can put pressure on them to go outside of their comfortability, right? Like, and that defense for the Bills is better than people would give them credit for. That secondary is very good, and their run game for the Chiefs is not good.
Oh my
Pacheco
god,
doesn't look like himself at all.
I don't think Pacheco is going to be himself till I've said it a couple times, like midway next year,
Yeah,
possibly never. I mean, Waddle had that same injury, and he's still not as great. I wouldn't say like he's not a bad player, so he's not as great as he was.
no.
Do you think that the Chiefs defense had kind of a letdown game against the Texans? I did not like. I know Chris Jones got his sack. You know, you still have McDuffie, Bolton, and Reed, who are the three game changers. I do not think they're going to be able to stop the Bills.
You know, something looks off with Chris Jones.
It does. It
I
does.
don't feel like he was wrecking the game and against it. And now this is coming from look, CJ Stroud got sacked what like 8 times.
8
So
times.
yeah, I mean, but there was a statistic that I found about Stroud, and I'll read it really quick. But it was yeah, CJ Stroud was pressured 56.9% of his dropbacks, up to on which opposing defenses used a stunt. That's the second highest of 108 qualifying quarterbacks in fantasy points data history, only behind Tommy DeVito, and just that's since 2023. But I
Oh my
mean,
god.
he got pressured a ton. Chris Jones has that calf injury, if you remember. He injured his calf a couple weeks ago. Maybe he's just not feeling himself. But this Bills offensive line is fucking massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
I
They
mean,
move people, man.
they do, but man, it's just something about being an Arrowhead. I'm just telling you. I want the Bills to
I
win this
get it.
game so bad. I want them
They
to just beat the brakes off them, man.
they need a pass catcher to step up. I mean, against a Ravens. Here's the thing, like, I think the Bills played very conservative because they didn't wanna get into a track meet with Lamar in them, so I think they just tried to be conservative. It's kinda similar to what they did with against the Broncos. Like, in the beginning of that game, like, they didn't really throw the ball against Denver. They just kept pounding the ball down their throat and running power zone with Josh Allen. So,
We'll
yeah,
get to the Bills Ravens game, but man,
yeah,
I think the Ravens should have won the Super Bowl. I think they're the better team. They lost the game.
I know,
Very,
I know.
very, very disappointed there.
Yeah.
I hit on a ton of props in this game, and it
Mhm.
was the DeAndre Hopkins revenge game in a playoff game, and he did nothing with it. That was one thing that I didn't understand. I think he had one target, and that was it.
I think he's gone, man. I don't think I think he's out after this year. He's gonna go somewhere else. I don't think he's completely washed. They just don't use him. It's just not their style. I don't know what's going on there. He'll go somewhere else next year.
Travis Kelce again carries it. I think DeAndre Hopkins is gone too. I mean, they're gonna have Rasheed Rice back. You
Yeah.
got Hollywood Brown's still a free agent. We don't know about him. Noah
He might
Gray's
not come
locked
back
up.
either. Why would he?
Is Travis Kelce if they win?
I think Kelsey's I think he's too much of a competitor. I think he still keeps playing. If he really thinks that they can continue to win, I don't think he's done. Especially the way they used him this year, and like they barely grinded him during the regular season. So
And
if
then he
they can
gets
continue to do
110
that,
yards in the playoff game. Of
yeah,
course. Just
why
like
not?
always.
Yeah, why not?
So now we got to move on to the game that really pained me, man. I really wanted the Rams to beat the Eagles. I
Yeah,
think if it wasn't a snow game that they would have. I really do think. I don't think I think they're frauds, man. Saquon Barkley's a god, but Jalen Hurts. I mean, when's the last time this guy had a 20 completion game in the NFL right now? I don't
yeah,
think he's done it in like 8 weeks. So I
yeah.
mean, what would be your takeaways from this Rams Eagles game were your main hits?
Jalen Carter looks like a man amongst boys. I do think the weather definitely benefited Philly, for sure. Now, when it comes to Jalen Hurts, we've seen quarterbacks manage the games with good elite defenses and win the Super Bowl recently. I mean, now the Broncos had one of the best defenses in history when Peyton Manning was a shell of himself years back. Ben Roethlisberger managed the game, didn't really do too much when they won last time. There have been quarterbacks that have been able to do it. And I think at the end of the day, The thing I worry about the most with Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense is if the run game can be slowed down and stopped, and they are forced to have
If
Jalen throw the ball. Big if, but if Jalen is forced to throw the football, that worries me. But here's the thing. The teams that are winning these games in the playoffs are the ones that don't turn the football over. And the better offensive lines. Right now, Eagles are playing mistake-free football. They have a mammoth offensive line. And I think offensive lines and strong defenses, offensive line, strong defenses, and ball and controlling the football, making playing mistake free is what's winning games right now. And so, as much as I love the story, and we'll talk about the game later, but I love the Rams too, and I like what they were building, and I think they're actually a year away. I think Stafford should come back. I think they
you think
are.
he's
I
coming
think they're.
back,
Yeah, I think he's coming back.
I
He's
think the
got a lot of
wife
good
is
ball left.
talking him out of it, man. I think she is. I think she's going family time there. I've seen a bunch of posts. I don't know.
I
He's
hope not, man.
36.
I know. I hope not. That would be a big bummer for me. I love watching him play, man.
I mean, what was crazy was AJ Brown with 7 targets, 2 receptions, did absolutely nothing. I mean, Dallas Goedert, I liked his matchup. He was like the only guy I liked in the receiving game. That worked.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts with 15 completions again, and they're winning games. It's
Well,
the defense is lights out.
you got to think too. I mean, AJ dropped the touchdown.
Yep.
He also dropped that dagger route across the middle for like
I would
10
say
to
it's
15
cold.
yards.
The snow takes effect in that.
No, I think he felt footsteps on the dagger at least. It was right in his hands. Nobody touched him and he just dropped it across the middle. The touchdown play, I'll give it to him. Devonta Smith got cracked on that play, and then Goddard had a play called back for I don't know if it was holding or legal formation or something like that. I don't remember, but that was a good over 100 yards that Hurts got pulled off. You could make that a case for pretty much every quarterback every game, I'm sure. But I think Hurts, they changed their mold of how they were playing offense halfway through the year when they started to realize that Hurts has limitations in a way. And not every quarterback is going to be good at everything. And I think Hurts right now, he can't throw the ball over the middle of the field. Like that's his issue right now. And he holds on to the football too much. He second guesses himself. And I think that's what worries me because I don't think he's playing confident. And so if they do get from player or playing from behind, does he have the confidence to go out there? But Jalen Hurts
And
wins,
the knee injury.
but he wins
I
games,
know.
man. He just wins games. College, NFL, like he just finds ways to do it, man. And granted, he's got a great roster around him. Don't get me wrong, but I
Well, I
don't know,
mean,
man.
Saquon Barkley must be nice to have. Jesus.
Oh, dude,
This
yeah,
guy just 205 yards. I mean, he might even break Terrell Davis's all time. I know
mhm,
he could have broken in the season, the revenge game against the Giants, they bench him.
yeah,
Right now, he's like what is it? Like he's like 2,229 and Terrell Davis is like 2,430 or something for the all
yeah,
time in the season. And he did that in your Super Bowl year, right? With Elway.
yes, yep,
So I think he can, man. I think he can do it next game. I don't think the Commanders can stop him. I don't think they need to lean on Jalen Hurts that much at all. I
yep.
mean, unless JD5 can blow up the Eagles defense, which is a different beast. So I mean,
Yeah, I have some interesting things about that game that we'll talk about once we get there, but I don't want to spoil it, right?
okay, I got you.
But
What's how you doing?
it was good to see the Rams get some fight in them, and I think at the end of the day, I think they just the biggest worry for me for the Eagles was just coaching and quarterback here, and Stafford made too many mistakes to begin the game, but
You did. You did.
McVay also had them coming out ready to play, and Jared Verse is just an absolute stud. He's going to be a stud. He's a beast.
Dude, I can't believe he ran 24 miles an hour. Blown away by that. I was like, this guy's flying.
He's fucking fast, man.
When I'm looking at the Rams, though, it all hinges on Stafford coming in next year, obviously,
Sure,
right?
of
But
course.
Kyron Williams, he's the guy. Puka Nacua, Cooper Cup looks like he's on his way out now, so it looks like he might be gone, or they don't quote unquote know. And Tyler Higbee had a hell of a playoffs coming out of not playing all year. That's an impressive thing, but he's going to be older heading into next year as well. I would like to see Jordan Whittington make a little jump to go with Puka Nacua, but
Me
we'll
too.
see how that
Yeah,
goes.
most of their receivers are gone. Demarcus Robinson,
Mhm.
Tutu Atwell, Cooper Cup's probably gone. I mean, it's Jordan Whittington. Maybe he's like a good number 3, but he's slotted in. Do you think Sam Darnold would be the guy that they go to if they or do you think that McVay might want to draft like the developmental guy, maybe
I
a
would.
Jackson Dart?
There's a lot of Raiders talk with Sam Darnold too. I've never liked Sam Darnold, but I mean, obviously he did good for the Vikings this year. He
Yeah,
took them to the playoffs, great record, but they're also stacked across the board with talent.
yeah,
So I mean, I'm not taking Sam Darnold. I'd look for the rebuild. I'd look for the young asset piece instead of Sam Darnold. But you could get Sam Darnold for probably 16, 20, 17 million. Draft a rookie, let him learn underneath of him for a couple of games or whatever. That's what I heard the Vikings are doing with Danny Dimes. I almost lost my mind. So JJ McCarthy's coming back mid-season, and Danny Dimes is going to lead them away. That's killer to me. I can't even believe I heard that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
do you like Sam Darnold as a top 15 QB?
No. System quarterback, guy that if he goes, I think we've seen a lot of great examples of just guys that Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, like Bryce Young, like a lot of these guys that when the right coach is in place, they can thrive. But Sam Darnold goes to the Raiders. I don't trust anything that they have going on there. I don't care if Tom Brady
Yeah.
is giving him foot rubs in the film room, whispering sweet nothings in his ear about what he should do. I don't trust that situation. Now, if he went to the Rams, I could buy in for a
Because
year or two.
McVay.
Yeah, I could buy in
Right.
for a year or two, but we'll see.
I agree. All right, so moving on, the game that just was so good but wasn't so good. Mark Andrews with the costly drop, but you can't blame the game on the drop, man. They had turnovers to start the game, and Lamar Jackson, I didn't like his post-game comments, to be honest, either.
No.
They played turnover football that cost them the game, and I honestly think that I love the comment from, I think it was either Troy Aikman or whoever the commentator was. He was like, if this game was flipped, the Ravens would have won this by 30. Those turnovers had happened early. There's no way the Bills could have kept up. I really do think the Ravens were the better team, but the Bills got the win. Now I'm rooting for the Bills to win the whole thing. And my biggest takeaway would be exactly what Dan tells us in our group chat, that Matt Milano makes that defense go. And him being out, I think it was 8 or 9 games on the year was costly. And since he's been back, they're just a different defense now. I mean, they went from one of the worst defenses to like in the past, I forget what it is, past 10 to 12 weeks, like up to the top 15 and top 12. So very good against the run after being terrible. And you held Derrick Henry under 100. And that's hard to do. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say that the only thing I can't figure out is, where is Amari Cooper? Why did we go get this guy? What is going on with Amari Cooper in Buffalo? I cannot explain right now.
Yeah, he'll be gone probably too. Yeah, I mean, I wish. I'll toot my own horn a little bit here. I did pick the Bills. My keys to the game was interior defensive line for the Bills. Can they make Derrick Henry stop his feet in the backfield? And they did. They got some push. Oh, dude, and now Henry got the best of them in the second half, but that was the big thing. And look, Lamar Jackson, extremely talented player. I love him, but 0-5 against teams in the playoffs that scored 14 points. This is a guy that consistently, and I hate to side with Nick Wright, but it's the truth. He has his worst games of the season in the playoffs. This is a guy that didn't turn the ball over since like week 3 all season long, and then has an interception and a fumble in the first half of the game. And I get it. Like, he looked phenomenal in the second half. People will say, he did everything that he could to help them win that game at the end of the game. Okay. The Bills would have had a minute 33 left with a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And on top of it, they wouldn't have had to be in that situation if he didn't make the mistakes that he made in the beginning of the game. The turnover differential, the Bills are number 1 in the NFL this season in turnover differential with plus 24. Ravens are plus 6, right? That's good for 10th in the NFL. Like, whoever turned the football over was going to likely be the loser in this one. And Josh Allen, give him credit. He didn't do amazing, but it's like same-ish with Jalen Hurts in a way where he didn't do too much.
They win.
Relied on his defense, didn't make a lot of mistakes, and they're just pounding. Their offensive line is so good. They move dudes. It's like It's super impressive, man. It really is. And I love Lamar. At this point, we've seen enough data. Ben Solak, a lot of guys out there, these talking heads and these guys, all these data guys say it's an 8-game sample size for Lamar. It's not that big. I mean, we have seen Lamar enough in the playoffs to know this is who he is right now. Can he end up winning a big game and a Super Bowl at some point in his career? Absolutely. But right now, with what we've seen from Lamar, this is who he is in the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but they were the best team.
They
They
were
were
the
the
best
best
team.
team. They were. Not that
And
great.
Zay Flowers, no little come up for him because he was out. Could have been a
Yeah.
big piece to help them, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that first interception, I was like, here comes Lamar. Here's playoff Lamar. He threw that 10 yards over the receiver's head, instant pick, fumbled the ball when he could have got down as well. I mean,
The
he's trying
fumble
to
was
make the
bad.
play happen.
The
And
fumble
he
was worse. I think the interception, maybe it was a miscommunication on the route or something. The fumble was bad, though.
But I mean, yeah, you could say miscommunication as well. Who was the pass to an interception? I don't even know who that receiver
I don't
was.
even remember. It looked like there was nobody there. It was
That's
so bad.
that's why I was thinking, like, here comes the Zay Flower. So you need the communication there with him.
Yeah.
But
Which sucks. I mean, he didn't have a lot of weapons, but Josh Allen's not doing it with much weapons either.
right. I mean, look at Amari Cooper, 0. Keon Coleman had 0. Who
Killed my
else was
best
it
ball
in the
lineups,
game?
dude. Killed my
Curtis
best ball
Samuel,
lineups.
2. Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins was going nuts in the game. He's like the fuel that brings that team up. I
He's a
like that.
tone setter. Yeah, he's a
He
tone
was
setter.
talking shit to everybody. I like that with him.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, it was one of the most hyped up, kind of let down games to me, if you want the honest truth. Like, I thought there'd be more points flying. 52. Yeah, they barely covered the over under or was the over under 51.5, or was it more?
It was 51.5. Yeah.
So they covered it barely, but I thought it would be like 35, 38, come down to the last play, disco call in overtime.
Yeah. I just think the Bills didn't want to get in that kind of game. I think that a game like that would have favored Lamar and that offense playing at a faster speed,
Oh, for sure.
going back to back. That's why the Lions got in trouble, because that's just
They
what the
could have
game
controlled the
became.
clock. They
Nope.
could have. They're not a comeback team like that. It's like Notre Dame, I guess. Well, Notre Dame came back a little bit in that game. It was more garbage time.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say, looking ahead, promising looked. Ray Davis looked really good. I didn't think
Yeah.
that they'd use him that much in the playoff game. Ty Johnson, they kind of split work back and forth. Isaiah Likely, Disco, great call there. He had a big game as well.
Yep.
I'm hurting for Mark Andrews right now because he's taking so much heat for that catch. Obviously, he should have caught it, but I still think he's a great tight end. But now we get to break into the AFC Championship game. Kansas City at home, Buffalo Bills, KC -2. I'm taking the Bills. I'm taking the Bills to win. I do not want the Chiefs to repeat. I don't know about the over-under, though, in this game. I mean, looking at the Ravens-Bills game, and you're at Arrowhead, and all the calls we know that are going to go their way, and I'm going to have to tweet out more bullshit and watch stupid flags and watch 2 guys collide and the quarterback slide under and get a roughing the passer call on 3rd and 15 to save their drive.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to – who are you taking in this game, and what do you like from this game?
Yeah, I like the under, 47.5. I'll take the under there. I like the Bills. I'll take them to cover, and I would take them on the money line. Reason I like 47.5 is, these games at Arrowhead, typically the unders happen a lot here in Arrowhead. So I like Buffalo here. Looking at some of their matchup comparisons, I think Kansas City's gotten away with this makeshift offensive line a little bit, where they moved, I think, Joe Tooney over to tackle. And
They can't run the ball for anything.
As I'm saying, their interior has issues. It's going to really come down to coaching. Can Sean McDermott just coach the right,
I'll coach Andy Reid. I don't know, man. That's tough. That's very, very tough.
The Bills just have a lot of advantages here. Like their secondary is a strength, and their run defense hasn't been great, but like I don't trust Isaiah Pacheco to have the game of his life or a bounce back game the way he's been running, unless they just decide, fuck it, Kareem Hunt, you've shown us more. Go out there and go get us some yards.
He looks better.
I know he has.
I mean, Pacheco looks terrible. But
So
I gotta throw a backlash. Do you think the Bills secondary And then Rap, we don't know about him, right? Is he going to be out there or not? Obviously, comes back off the injury, gets hurt again.
Right.
So I think I would take McDuffie, what's his name, Bolton, and Justin Reed over any of the Bills 3.
Well, so Christian Benford has been one of the best corners in the
He's
NFL.
very good.
Yeah,
He's
he got
also
some all pro
banged up.
vote. He's banged up. You have Johnson in the secondary as well. He's good. And Matt Milano.
I like
So
Milano.
I mean, I would definitely say that, this Chiefs defense is probably better, but I don't think it's much better. And I think offensively, I think Buffalo's offensive line, I keep talking about this, but I just think that their offensive line matches up better than the offensive line for the Chiefs. I mean, Von Miller, I'm a Broncos fan. I get it. I'm a homer, but he's still showing juice. Ed Oliver's been awesome as well. There's another guy on the edge on the D line I can't think of right now.
I like Epinesa a lot.
I like
Adrian.
Epinesa, but
Mhm.
there's another one who's more of a higher profile name that they drafted high. Fuck, I can't remember who it is.
Dorian Williams? No.
No.
Let me pull up the
Might be
depth
considered
chart.
an outside linebacker.
Greg Rousseau,
Yeah,
Daquan
Greg
Jones.
Rousseau. Greg Rousseau.
Greg
Greg
Rousseau.
Rousseau's he's young, he's good. Obviously, look, Mahomes over Allen. I see that. Yeah.
He says Reed over McDermott. I do think the Chiefs have a better defense than the Bills. I'm not going to lie there.
Yeah, I think they do. I definitely think they do. But which offense? Forgetting about what we know about the Chiefs prior to this year, offensively, Bills' offense has been better this year. This year their offense is better, and I think the defense, the Chiefs' defense, is
Yeah,
marginally
but
better.
you lost Rasheed Rice. You lost Hollywood Brown.
Sure,
You just Schuster is hurt. Pacheco goes down.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but
I would
that's
definitely not agree with that running back. I'd say Bills running back is way better than Chiefs.
yeah. 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 I mean, even the Chiefs wide receivers, they are better, but they haven't. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins 0 catches last week. I mean, Xavier Worthy's been good.
Xavier Worthy has been
better.
up and coming.
Yes,
He's
much better. And then you have Kelsey, right? Xavier Worthy and Kelsey are the X factors on the Chiefs side of the ball. Those are the two guys that, and can they establish the run? That'll be a big thing, man.
I don't think the Chiefs. I'm taking all the unders on Mahomes, or not Mahomes, all the unders on Pacheco and Hunt. I really do believe they're not going to be able to run the ball against Buffalo at all. Especially after looking at what the Ravens are big boys, and Derrick Henry did not. Obviously, every time the game goes to the second half, Henry's always going to wear you down. He's always going to get a couple breakaway runs. They did really good against him. That was the most impressive against Derrick Henry run game I've seen in a long time, or not a long time, but in a playoff game like that. He says if Taylor Rapp and the CB is out, Chiefs offense could go off. I mean, I'm going Bills still. I'm going Bills, even if they're out there healthy, even if they're not. I do not believe in this Chiefs team unless the refs are going to give them the game.
Taylor Rapp is day to day with a hip injury. Day to day tells me he's going to play. It's the playoffs. They're not saving him for anything. Maybe he gives it a go and re-hurts. I know, but crazy enough, day to day. And Christian Benford has a concussion. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying it's not serious, but I mean, I could see him playing. They played on Sunday. When is this game? It's Sunday.
This is the Sunday game. Yeah, that's why I was wondering what the weather is too.
He gets a full week at least. So yeah, and here's the thing too. Like, you got to remember, Teron Johnson's been phenomenal. Now I worry about fucking DeMar Hamlin. That I do worry about.
I don't think he's that good.
No, and he was getting beat pretty bad in that game.
Teron's the nickel, right?
Yeah, he's a nickel DB. Yeah. So we'll see, man. And Rasul Douglas is solid. And like you said, and Terrell Bernard is very good too. Him and Milano are an awesome tandem.
Dude, Milano looked great. I mean, God, I heard his name every single time for the commentator, almost every single play. Milano. I was like, he's back. He's looking great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call right now 24-20 Bills. What are you calling on the game?
So I'm taking the under right at 47.5. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I think I'll go 23-21.
Okay, I like that.
Right, that would be 2 touchdowns. Let me think here. 2 touchdowns, 14, and then 2 field goals. No, 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals, right? Yeah, 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals. That makes sense.
Is it
23.
gonna be a lot of kicking in this game? Because I didn't take Bucker, I didn't take Fairbairn last week, and they both blasted so many field goals. Is it gonna be more touchdowns or more field goals?
Should be more field goals, I would think. This is gonna be a drag out game. Both of these teams are similar in what they wanna do. They right now, the Bills have shown us that they just want to slow the game down and just control the football, and that's what the Chiefs have done the best this year out of everybody.
Right. I agree. All right, so we're both taking the Bills. We got move on to the last game. Jaden Daniels, the electric rookie. I'm gonna let you start it off because I wanted to hear these points that you saved for me here on this game. I want the Eagles to lose so bad.
um, yeah, I mean, I think so if I'm looking at the matchup here, um, I mean, the advantage here O-line wise is the Eagles, right?
Oh God, by
Defensively, too, the Eagles defense looks phenomenal. Now, they did lose that last game, but let's keep in mind that Jalen Hurts was out for half of the game when that Washington made that comeback and Kenny Pickett was playing. And it still took them a lot to win that game against the Eagles. It took them a last second touchdown at the end. To me, Vic Fangio seeing a rookie quarterback for a third time is what has me worried about Daniels. Um, Daniels did not get sacked much last week. Lions don't bring a lot of pressure. Their defense is not great. Jane Daniels at one point was sacked 8 times against the Saints a couple weeks ago. This Eagles front is very good. Commanders lost one of their best offensive linemen. They lost last week. So that worries me. And I just think that I think their defense is going to hold the Commanders pretty heavily here. Yeah, and I know Albert said the Commanders had 5 turnovers. Did they give the ball up 5 times, or did they get the ball 5 times? It wouldn't surprise me if they took away the ball 5 times with Kenny Pickett on the field. Can't remember.
And the Commanders did have I think they had a ton of turnovers when they were out there with Pickett in that game.
Yeah.
That was one of those weird games though. Like last second drive comeback. I think they got the turnover at the end to even get the drive going. I mean, 47.5 for both games seems weird to me. I think this one goes over, even though I don't really like the Eagles to score a lot of points.
I think it goes over too.
All you need is Jaden Daniels to just get the lead here. And that's what I think they have to do in this game to win. If they fall behind in Philly, you are going to get Saquon Barkley all the way to the finish, and Saquon is going to take them to the Super Bowl. And I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Saquon fan, but I'm a Niners fan. I don't like the Eagles, man. I want them to lose this game. And I think it'd be sick to see Jaden Daniels as a rookie go to the Super Bowl here. And if they do, can he beat either of the AFC side? Can they do it? Is he this guy?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think they could do it. But Spagnuolo against the rookie quarterback, if the Chiefs get in, I would have my concerns. I think the biggest thing is that even if the Washington can put up points, so even if their defense isn't that great, the Chiefs' offense hasn't been that great. So I could see Washington being competitive, but that I would worry that Spags would have a really good game plan for him.
Is every team in the NFL now, or quarterbacks, everybody coming in, going to start using Jaden Daniels' Germany virtual reality, 6:00 in the morning, reading defenses? That's how he talked about the Lions game. That's how he saw the defenses that were coming. He called the cover threes. He called all the plays. And he said that he even had 2 of the plays that he knew were going to be touchdowns be touchdowns. Is this going to be a new trend that's kicking in?
Think so. I mean, why not? I mean, technology is taking over, and why shy away from it? It's it's a tool. Why? I mean, clearly, if it's working for a guy like him, why can't it work for others? So, and the craziest thing with Jane Daniels is like he was in a bad place, like in college. Like he wasn't projected to be this great quarterback going first round until he turned it around his senior year. And in part
Monster
they
turnaround.
well, and in part they say that they introduced him to that VR stuff, and that was a huge thing, and he credits that. So, I mean, you saw Josh Allen, and this is more off topic, but Josh Allen talked about like he had a guy that helped him with his mechanics, and they did all this certain like a
I
tech
saw that.
some sort of tech company or whatever, and they showed like this weird like there was like a little
Range
snippet
of
I think you
motion
saw.
thing.
Yeah, and like I mean,
Mhm.
there's just so much information out there that like why wouldn't people use that to their advantage, and we need it. That's the problem with these young quarterbacks that come in. They are not mentally these. They don't get prepped the right way in college, man. They really don't. These coaches baby them in college, and then they get to the NFL, and these coaches in the NFL they want to be geniuses so bad that they don't allow these quarterbacks to, these here. And I'm going to go on a rant here, but hear me
Go
out
for it.
for a second. The problem that we have in the NFL is that these coaches don't understand that like when they call a play, it's based on probability. They're calling plays to assume what they think the defense is going to do and how they can counter that, right? And so the problem with that is that these quarterbacks, they're now in the quarterback's ear. The coaches are in their ear, I think until like the 15-second mark. So
Yep.
like they can be talking to the quarterback up until 15 seconds. And like to me, it's like they're not giving these quarterbacks enough freedom at the line to make adjustments. As a coach, you should be coaching these quarterbacks to be able to recognize things in the defense and make adjustments, right? And the problem is these coaches give them two plays. They run a motion guy, right? Maybe have a guy motion out, and then that quarterback knows they'll tell the quarterback, hey, if this guy moves, run the original play. If the defense moves with it, kill the play and go to play number two, right? Like that's like they're just cookie cutter giving these guys like this is what you need to do if this happens, rather than coaching them to just say we trust you, go out there and make the adjustments and make the plays. And I think virtual reality, something like that, like we need guys to take that next step mentally. And we saw it with Stroud last year. I think that was a big thing that we saw with him is he was processing the game a lot faster, and Daniels is doing the same.
I love that you brought that point up because when they get that 15 seconds and you're going at Philly on the road in the NFC Championship game, what really adjustments are you going to make with 15, 20 seconds coming up to the line when you're seeing everything moving so fast? That's one of the things that's definitely a struggle there. But I
Well,
would
and
say,
go ahead.
go on.
No, I was
The
going to say the thing with the Eagles defense is Fangio runs a lot of shell coverage where they show something and then they rock down at the snap. And so for a young quarterback, like now Daniels has seen them twice, so that may be his benefit as well. But they both teams honestly should be more prepared. So yeah,
Oh,
that
the
was all I
third
was going to say.
matchup. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
third
I
time
would
in the
say though
conference.
that I mean, back to the rookie quarterback point, we are seeing a different kind of look though for the rookie QBs over the past couple of years, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
could look at this year, one of the best classes probably of a long time. I mean, Caleb Williams started all year, Jaden Daniels, Drake May comes in. Michael Penix probably should have been starting all year with how bad Kirk Cousins looked. I would have helped him in the long run. Bo Nix, I missed by a mile on. And then last year you had CJ Stroud who went off. Anthony Richardson obviously didn't do much. And Bryce Young's finding a little footing, after he's coming back. So
And
a lot of
the right coaching for Bryce Young. And I
right.
like Frank Reich, so I don't even want to shit on him. I thought he was given a raw deal, to be honest with you. But Canales showed what he did with
I
Gino,
like
then he did it
Dave.
with Baker. Now he did it with,
Mm.
and remember how you remember in the middle of the season, people just shit on Canales. Like Rex Ryan was going on television, just like talking all this shit about Canales and how he like these young coaches and this and that, and they're gonna like it was
Panthers
so
really have
fucking
nothing
ridiculous.
though.
What'd you say?
I mean, I said the Panthers don't have a lot. He kind of walked into a full rebuild.
Yeah,
So I
he did.
mean,
And he's got one of the worst owners in the NFL.
so who are you taking? I'm taking Eagles to win, but I'm taking the Commanders points. And I'm taking the
So
over.
Commanders 5, yeah, I'll take Commanders to cover in this one just because these lower scoring games in Philly. I took Rams to cover last week. They're playing an offense that right now is playing hotter than what the Rams were last week, though the defense is not as hot Defense still playing solid for the Washington, but I'll take them to cover just because of the style that Philly plays. They don't get in track meets, and so because of that, this should be a close game.
I'm taking that as well. Any points you want to throw out here? I got to get out of here in like 4 minutes. I got to head to the hospital here. If you guys have not smashed the subscription on the FF Faceoff or Supernova, Pete joining me today. Hopefully we do it every Tuesday, man. Depends on your schedule.
Yeah, we'll try to get this going.
And anything else you want to throw in here?
Great week last week. Let's keep the momentum going. I have one best ball lineup left.
I got mine shot.
Yeah, I mean, I had a build I showed you in Disco where I had Devonta Smith, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts on a squad, and I advanced them to last week, but the amount of teams that are going to be dead in this is just fucking terrible. There's these teams that are left between the Chiefs, Bills, and the Eagles. Those teams, their players didn't give us much, so likely not many teams have those guys unless they went all in on Commanders.
Yeah, and no one really did. That's the thing. That's why I mean, my best one right now is in the money, but it's dead. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Stafford, dead.
I have one with Daniels, Terry, DeAndre Hopkins, and Brian Robinson. That's all I have left. Which, if the Commanders win,
right? Yeah.
So,
all right, guys. I gotta head out of here. Sorry to cut it short. Started early. I will be live again tomorrow, but tomorrow will not be fantasy football. It will be the FNCS for Fortnite, and then Thursday and Friday I'll be back live again. Pete, always thanks for joining me. Amazing. Hopefully we can get it going every Tuesday. Make sure you smash my guy a follow. Make sure you smash the sub, and I'll be back tomorrow, guys. I do gotta head out like right now though.
All right, peace. Later, guys.
Peace. Have a good one.
All right, later.